Take seats! Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to my little friend. A standard issue novel coronavirus nomenclature type COVID-19. And welcome to the Pandemic Crisis Center range again. I am your instructor, Major Depression. Is it a great day to be in the Army?
Sir, yes, sir!
Does a God in heaven love you more than a novel coronavirus?
Sir, yes, sir!
Outstanding. I have been selected once again to provide this block of instruction after a recent event in the nation's capital. As you see here, we have civilian personnel. Yes, there actually are civilians in this world. Civilian personnel employed at hospitals in the nation's capital, standing in protest outside the White House, where the commander-in-chief resides, to demand equipment to protect them on the front lines of battle in a pandemic crisis, because we are informed that some of their friends are, let's show some empathetic feelings, have become infected by a deadly communicable disease. But what do we know about battle, gentlemen and ladies? There are only two types of soldier on the field of battle: the quick and the dead. We stay alert, you stay alive, and the most deadly weapon in aggressive engagement against your foe is what? That little friend between your ears.
Sir, yes, sir!
A review of the pertinent or relevant facts, ladies and gentlemen. On April 3rd, 2020, doctors at the Center for Disease Control, CDC, updated guidance originally published in mid-March regarding optimization of personal protective equipment, or PPE for everyday use by healthcare personnel, or HCP, and recently noted that PPE helps protect HCP, anyone getting confused with these acronyms, from potentially infectious patients and materials, toxic medications, and other potentially dangerous substances used in healthcare delivery. For your full comprehension, we have civilians working around dangerous stuff, hazardous duty. And we know as soldiers that regardless of the lethality of any weapon, it is only as lethal as the operator deploying it, or...
Sir, yes, sir!
You can't operate in dangerous conditions. Get the hell out of my army!
Sir, yes, sir!
The CDC goes on to note in updated guidance that PPE shortages are currently posing a tremendous challenge to the U.S. healthcare system because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Healthcare facilities are having difficulty accessing the needed PPE and are having to identify alternate ways to provide patient care. I don't know, maybe that guy who doesn't need a mask, who's not around dangerous stuff, should have a goddamn mask!
Sir, yes, sir!
Can I get a volunteer? Can any specially selected and well-trained soldier identify with pinpoint accuracy why these stupid civilian healthcare professionals might find a high incidence of friends being infected by a communicable disease, not even rated as highly communicable like the measles virus? No, let's not say that they are just morons. Take a very close look at the protesters who have feelings hurt, crying to the president in a sanctioned protest to which law enforcement has not been dispatched, and identify those factors that lead to infection that these healthcare professionals, despite training and experience and going to work every day, working around dangerous stuff, obviously do not understand, despite engaging in proper social distancing 6 feet apart. Number one, does everyone in this protest have an adequate mask to prevent infection from a microbe measuring less than 1 micrometer?
Sir, no, sir!
A micrometer, about the size of a strand of hair and smaller than a cell or invisible. Birds of a feather, fogged together.
Yes, sir!
Number two is one standard issue novel coronavirus nomenclature type COVID-19 an airborne pathogen. I said, is it an airborne pathogen?
Sir, no, sir!
So why in hell are they wearing masks besides for good television? Moving on. Number three. Acknowledging the fact that a standard issue novel coronavirus nomenclature type COVID-19 is not airborne, but spreads from person to person when an infected person, somebody stupid enough to get this disease, either coughs or sneezes, and an infected droplet projectile is propelled in less than a second at speeds up to 200 miles per hour along a linear trajectory, potentially out to 27 feet. Goddamn!
Sir, yes, sir!
They are only infectious upon a victim stupid enough to be in the path of a point area target that scores a bullseye at the entrance of the respiratory tract, which any idiot engaged as a healthcare worker should know is through the nostrils of the mouth.
Sir, yes, sir!
Can we say, ah?
Sir, yes, sir!
Is it possible, practical exercise test, is it possible for me to, as a highly selected and well-trained infantryman, to land one 5.56 ball round of ammunition, or 7.62 if you prefer, in your mouth if I am in an offensive position attempting to engage you from the rear?
Sir, no, sir!
I highly doubt. I'm very good, but no, I cannot do that. So assuming that these civilians with infected friends, mind you, are more likely than some others of us to be infected, does any one of them, despite obvious skill that awarded them a highly paid job in healthcare, possess the capability to launch a loogie to their fore at less than 6 feet or more that shoots past the head of the person to their fore that will defy fluid freaking dynamics, perform a ricochet maneuver and into the mouth or nose of their other potentially infected healthcare colleagues?
Sir, no, sir!
An all-inspector magic bullet coronavirus theory would be a formidable adversary indeed. But assuming that the laws of nature and of nature's God have not been suspended, can we simply assume that a God in heaven, yes, a God in heaven, has not endowed these highly paid professionals with adequate cognitive capacity to understand the dangers in their own workplace that they see every day? Yes, by natural selection, a God in heaven, we must conclude, simply does not like them. And aren't we glad?
Sir, yes, sir!
I said, aren't we glad?
Sir, yes,
For
sir!
review, gentlemen and ladies, we have examined a spot report obtained from the ongoing collection efforts in a war against an invisible enemy, fully observable by a trained operator of a powerful microscope, but invisible to the unaided eye. In this battle space, like a pilot proceeding through conditions of low visibility, you must rely upon your best judgment with the aid of instrumentation and your knowledge of your job. But just best judgment will always be your best friend. Why? Because the guys at Houston cannot see outside your window and can only tell you what the manual says that you should do in that situation. Common sense and situational awareness is the difference between a medal awarded and a body bag sent out. And who wants to fill a body bag, whore?
Sir, no, sir!
Let the other poor dumb bastard fill a body bag because I want a goddamn medal, and aren't we glad?
Sir, yes, sir!
I said, aren't we glad?
Sir, yes, sir!
Outstanding. This concludes this briefing. Move out smartly, engage the enemy with violence of action, and let's make America great again. Group attention! Hold! As you will.
Longer burst. Yo, come down here. You and me? No gun. Okay.
This advertisement was authorized by Mike Webb.